If somebody will work for a tenth of the money, why not, you know?
Well, you know, and that's one side of it, but when I worked, I was the human resources manager for Alumax Extrusions in Dunkirk for many years, and one of the problems that we had there was not that paying the workforce, but it was dealing with all of the New York State taxes, all the corporate taxes, all the extra things that had to come down to be paid for. The workers' comp rates, the insurance rates, the additional fees. You talked about fees earlier for the electric, for the power, all the things that have to go along with it. Look at what we pay for gas. Right here in our area, to drive your car to buy a gallon of gas, we pay more than what they pay over in Pennsylvania because New York State has an additional tax, an additional fee that they place on things.
The highest tax state in the country.
Right.
And
so
we
when
are the highest tax county.
So when we had to close Alumax, we kept the companies, we kept the plants in Mississippi, in Illinois, in Yankton, South Dakota, because we didn't have those corporate rates and fees and taxes that were imposed upon us. Not that we didn't want to pay the worker, we wanted to pay the worker. And that's the problem now, and that's what's going on with our economy. That's what's going on with our corporate structure in the United States. Is it's not that they can say, well, I'll pay you 80 cents an hour because you're in China, but I'll pay him $10. I have to pay him $10 an hour. It's because I can have my business in China and pay less from the corporate level. So, you know, we have to get that under control. That's a problem. And when we're spending money in Afghanistan and trying to be police officers of the world, we don't have the money to spend on our corporate tax structure.
And so you wonder why we're still doing it. I mean, and you think that the members of Congress and the president would have as much insight and intelligence as the average guy on the street. Is it that they know something we don't know? What is it? Why does this keep going on and on in Afghanistan, among other things?
Well, when you look at the you know, we had all of the Wall Street protesters and the 1%. Many of our 1%ers are in Congress.
Yes, they are.
So,
everybody in Congress is wealthy.
So that, you know, and I certainly aspire, as we all do, to have all the money we ever need and want. But you know, when they begin, once they're elected, they begin their campaign for the next election cycle. There's a problem there.
Yeah, everybody's on the take, too.
Everybody's on the take.
Yeah.
You know, one of the comments, and I just want to mention this, because I get a lot of comments from the articles that I write. And one of the commenters wrote that if we brought back the draft, we wouldn't have all of the armies and the wars, because we would have, everybody would be treated equally. And we have minimized our qualifications for joining the military. We've done some things that we never used to do.
Like what?
Well, for instance, it used to be to join the military, you had to have a high school education, you had to have, you couldn't have any prior arrest records, you had to do certain things. And now today, because our military is so strapped, we've said some of these things have to go by the wayside, because we no longer have the draft. And I'm not advocating for the draft, but I just want to say that there's something wrong with our military structure, that we have anybody and everybody can join the military, and for their service I'm very grateful, but by the same token, do we need to be more concerned about our quality and about our standards that we have in place.
So even if you have a felony, you can still join the Army now?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It depends
Depending on the felony.
Depends on the felony, yeah.
Yeah, and even if you aren't educated, it doesn't particularly matter.
Right. You know, there are just some things that we need to think about, that what's happened to our country, and I think that it comes back to we've lost our moral compass. We've lost our way to some degree. You know, the family structure is not what it used to be. The education structure is not what it used to be. You know, we've got these things. We need to pull them back together. We need to become a more unified,
yeah, especially
morally concerned country, I believe.
And we don't walk the walk. We talk the talk. But
that's right.
Like they're telling us how important education is, and we need more science, and we're falling way behind the rest of the world in education. In the meantime, they cut Pell Grants. They raise the interest rate on loans. They say, well, borrow. And some of these people are coming out with $100,000 loans to get through college. It's craziness.
It is. It's really
They're not walking the walk, and they're cutting state funding for education. This year, they gave us some more money for education, but it only took us back to what we had 2 years ago. We're still losing 2 years' worth of inflation and costs. Look at oil.
Right.
We're not walking the walk in
That's
education.
right. That's right. And we're spending our money in places that we shouldn't be spending it, such as,
Yeah, and we're spinning our wheels for sure.
Right.
I just wonder why Congress, well, I guess Congress is the power elite. They are the rich and
They
powerful
are.
now.
And
if not, they're totally controlled by the rich and powerful. So we can't get away.
Well, and the other problem is that we have the two political parties, and this party says no, and this party says no, and if you're for it, I'm against it. You know, it's just crazy. We have gridlock.
League. Between you and me, I think both sides of Congress are in league together. I think they're all the same gang, really. They just pretend that they're against or for something, but they control what gets done ultimately, and it's a gamesmanship thing. Well, Vicki, with your perception of affairs, what do you think is going to happen to this country with this craziness going on around us?
Well, I'm certainly not you can't, I certainly have no crystal ball, but I believe that unless we as a people, everyone, takes a stand and says no more, no more.
Okay, we have another phone call. Somebody says no more. Hello, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, Vicki. Good morning, Reed. This is Linda Spalding.
Well, hi, Linda. How's that elderly gentleman you live with?
Oh, he's doing just great. I wanted to say congratulations, Vicki, on your children's book, your publication.
Oh, thank you.
I'm calling this morning as an interested member of the community. I'm not representing
an interesting member of the community?
I wanted to say something about businesses and the dilemmas that they face with these extra taxes and higher costs of things. I don't know if people realize, but in the 1880s, when President Reagan was in office, there was a effort to encourage businesses overseas, and they were given subsidies from our tax dollars to open these businesses. Now, that's just great, but my only concern is that the American businessman or woman is not getting the same breaks or subsidies or help from our federal government than the businesses that are going abroad.
The runaway businesses.
Yeah. This, to me, is not fair. The American business person should be on the same playing field as the American business person going overseas. They should get the same benefits, and if not more, because I'm a firm believer that American-made products are better. They really are. And we, as a consumer, need to demand American products from our merchants.
You know, Linda, I agree with you completely. And I think that one of the things that we need to do, we need to not have a level playing field for businesses in the United States and those who take their business elsewhere. We need to have a better playing field if they stay in the United States.
Yes.
And I believe that there have to be some, certainly we want to have businesses worldwide. We want to be able to have that corporate community, that worldwide community at our corporate level. However, people need to be able to work in the United States, to build things in the United States, to make things in the United States. You know, all of my books are printed in the United States. I believe, and I could have had them printed cheaper, I could have done things differently if I'd sent them to China. I did not, because I believe in Made in America. My husband and I drive vehicles that are made in America. And I try to look for that label. But we need to have our leaders determine that we are no longer going to allow people to move out of our country and then bring those goods back in, sell them at a high price, and while they make them cheaply. That is not fair to our workers here. It isn't fair to our corporations here. And that's one of the problems we have. We need to look at what we're doing as our entire structure for the corporations. I have a brother-in-law who lives in South Carolina who makes builds shopping centers, and it's terrible that you have, well, I can't get the money here, these banks aren't lending this money because it's all going over there. It's really a travesty what we have done to America. And it's like this Facebook thing that's just gone out, and the question is, but they don't make anything. Well, that's true. We need the internet, and we need all of the things that are going on electronically. We need to have our iPhones and iPads and all of that. That's great. But we need to be making those things right here. And unless we make it incentivize the corporations to stay here and make things here, it's not going to happen. So that's what we have to do. We have to provide incentives for them to stay in America.
Just as you're
I
saying.
agree wholeheartedly, and this has been going on for too long with every administration and every congressional representative. I'm speaking in broad terms now. I'm not delineating anyone in particular, but this has just gone on too long, and the parameters are just too vast that the American business person is not on the same playing field. They are at a definite disadvantage, and I think it's time it stopped.
Well, I agree.
Right. I agree. Thank you for calling.
Yeah. How's Doug doing?
Oh, he's doing pretty good.
Uh-huh. Well, he's training those dogs, isn't he? To play the piano?
Oh, the dogs are not as talented as Squirty.
Oh.
They're smart, but, Doug spent more time with Squirty, and Squirty played the piano and did all kinds of things.
I remember
He could
what a
tell
champion.
time.
You could play Chopin. He was fantastic. Okay, well, thanks a lot, Linda. And
thank you, and have a great weekend. It's a beautiful weekend coming up.
Yes, and Memorial Day is coming, and we're having a wonderful time of it out there. And
great, and it's great to see you on the show, Vicki.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Don't forget you can plant your flowers now.
Oh, I will. I've been putting my flowers out.
Okay, great. Vicki, we're down to maybe a couple minutes here. I wanted you to spend some time uninterrupted just to close off with your thoughts on this. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess that basically what I'm saying is that we have to act together. We can't say because you're this or you're that or I'm this or we're different. We have to look at the whole picture. And the whole picture is our economy is in the tank. And we need to get it out. And every individual watching, reading, listening has a responsibility. We can't just walk around with blinders on anymore. We have to say what's going on. If our Congress and our president are not able to work together, something has to give. If we have a county legislator or state legislator or whatever, and they're not working together, we need to get that person out of office. We need to get them gone. We need to bring our troops and our money back to the United States because we have problems right here at home. The unemployment figure that has been publicized, we know that's not right. We know that's padded because there are people who've given up. If we don't get jobs back in this country, our economy is not going to grow, and we need to fight for that. Everybody needs to spend some time fighting to get jobs back in this country. That means we're going to have to reduce some of the corporate taxes. We're going to have to look at some of our regulations that are out of line. We need to fix those things. If we don't, we're going to just continue to go deeper and deeper in debt, and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren are going to be the ones paying for it.
So it's time for a change. Thank you, Vicki.
It's time for a change. Thank you.
Vicki Westling, you come back soon?
Anytime.
Keep reading your editorials.
Okay,
we'll
you do
that. Vicki, if they wanted to contact you, what number would they use?
They can contact me through my website at www.vickiewestling.com.
Okay, or Google it up.
Or they could Google me, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Vicki Westling, thanks again. I want to thank some special sorry caller. We didn't get that last call, but we'll catch her next time. Chuck Kelsey, Devin Taylor, Chris Burt, Randy Burt, Chris Ramaker, Jeff Zook, Don Zenz, and John Hamels. Thank you all very much for a very wonderful, wonderful show. And we'll be on the air every Saturday morning from 9 to 10, live all over the county, just about on Channel 19, the North County, and runs all the time, twice a week, twice a day in the Westfield set, 2 and 8 o'clock. We're here to talk about things of interest to you, of impact to you, and this is your program, your magic carpet out into the universe. May all that is proud and true and noble be with you. I'm Reed Powers. Good show. Thank you.
Thank you.